Hi everyone, welcome to Reviewia Talks. So today we are going to talk about how much stability does a candidate, uh, or rather how much stability should a candidate have, for the person to qualify as a potential hire, okay, for any organization. As an employer or as a recruiter, you don't want to make a mistake of hiring someone who's going to join you and leave you very quickly. So it is but natural that if you are hiring someone with experience, you see how much time has the person spent in his or her current and previous jobs. So I would want to give some pointers about how to go about identifying a candidate who will not end up leaving you fast just because of stability concerns. The first thing, and if you're looking at someone who has about 5 to 6 years of work experience, you should ideally look at a candidate who has spent at least 3 years or close to 3 years in one particular organization. This kind of demonstrates that the person has the ability to stick around in a particular environment. Generally, the first year, people are just feeling their way. They might just stick around, not be in the thick of things because of a larger learning curve, etc., etc. But year two is when they get into the real deal in most environments. And if they have successfully passed year two and have gone on to year three, then it shows that the person has been able to stick around and would have gone through some tough moments, some challenges, and has been able to sustain or come out on top, in such environment. So that's one indicator that I look at when I hire for one of for any of our clients or for our own organization, that the person needs to have at least one stint of 3 years or close to 3 years. The other thing which one should look for is if the candidate has also got promoted in one particular organization. This also shows that the candidate hasn't only stuck around, but he or she has also performed to a level where the organization has given the candidate a larger role, which means the person has proven capabilities and has expanded his or her capability and demonstrating that capability in a job in a particular organization. So that gives you a lot of confidence that yes, this person is not only stable, but he or she has also performed during the stint with that particular organization. But again, stability is something which is very contextual today. It depends on the industry, it depends on the skill set. If you look at the manufacturing sector, it's the norm to have people stick around in one particular organization for 5 to 7 years. But if you look at the technology space, specifically deep tech, the really top end of technology, those are the kind of resources which are very high churn because they are in an industry where there's a lot of demand. And if you're a top performer, you're being wooed constantly by large organizations with better pay, better benefits, better job role. So there you would see that 1.5, 2 years, 2.5 years is generally what people spend at the max. So if you are hiring for such skill sets, then this 3 year parameter has to be kind of uh, moved a little lower to judge the person's degree of stability. And again, the expectation for such talent to stick around for 5 years in your organization would also be very unfair. So don't expect such talent to stick around for a very very long time, unless you are able to do an exceptional job in terms of retaining such talent, or you get this talent on board in a very very invested role like that of a co-founder of a startup, or with significant amount of equity stake apart from cash component or typical salary. So the expectation also should be different depending on the skill set, the industry that you're hiring for, in terms of how long the employee needs to stick around to call it a successful hiring. Right. Also, the last point that I wanted to mention, which is kind of counterintuitive, is that Too much stability should also kind of raise some flags in your mind if you are hiring such a candidate or you're interviewing such a candidate. So if you see someone who has spent 10, 15, 20 years in one organization and now he or she is looking out, there are enough and more chances that the person will eventually develop cold feet and will not honor the offer. This has happened 8 to 9 times out of 10 where people are so used to working in a certain organization. They might be good performers, but they are very used to a certain comfort zone. They are very used to the fact that they have a proven capability, rather credibility in that environment for many years. They can walk up to the CEO and the CEO gives them time. They have so much at stake when they have to give that up and join a new organization where they're starting from zero. That anxiety and concern invariably gets the better of them. Right? So please be mindful of ensuring that you are not investing time in interviewing and assessing a candidate who eventually would not join you. So have your checks and balances in place, that if you're hiring someone who has spent more than 10, 12 years in one particular organization, I'm not saying don't hire them. What I'm saying is you need to really dig deep into understanding what is their motivation. That the fact that they've spent 10 to 12 years in one organization, now why are they looking? All right. If it is just compensation, which typically happens, when there is an employee who sticks around for a very long time in one organization, his or her peers kind of go higher when it comes to compensation, and that becomes a trigger for these people to look for opportunities. Chances are that the current employer would be very easily able to retain such talent by giving a market correction. Right? So you need to dig deep as a recruiter, as an employer, to understand why is that candidate looking for an opportunity. And there has to be something really solid, okay, in terms of motivation. Maybe the role that you're providing is what motivates the candidate. Maybe your specific organization is the only one that he or she wants to join. Now, those are more compelling reasons for such candidates to eventually join you and stick around with you. All right. So these are the points that I wanted to highlight and leave you with. Next time you want to judge somebody on the stability parameter, you should consider these points, and hopefully, you'll be able to reduce your hiring errors in terms of getting candidates who might leave early, right? Or having offer drops in case of highly stable candidates, as I mentioned. All right. Thank you so much for your time. I hope it was useful. Bye.